am excited to chat with you as well. I see you're doing lovely things.
Yes, so many. We did like three or four conversations today. Three. This is our fourth one.
All right, cool beans, cool beans.
Yes. So we'll just talk about your experience in the mastermind, closing over six figures in contracts, and how you did it, what you've learned, and also like your approach, because you're an academic. So I'm sure you took an academic approach to diving into the information, learning, developing a plan. I saw you took a lot of notes. I think that people will learn a lot from that. And any like mindset shifts you had to make in coming into this container to have success.
Yes, I did take an academic approach. Going in, right, I was caught up with everyone wanting to reach $1 million and reach all of the people they could. And so I was a little conflicted because I knew I wanted to continue teaching. That is something I will do forever. I have done it for almost 2 decades. And so I didn't understand how I could serve in the way that I wanted to serve and impact the folks that I wanted to impact, and also continue teaching. And then I had a shift when you said, well, wait a minute, there is this thing called a lifestyle business, right?
Yes.
And so I had to sit with that for a while to figure out what it meant for me. And when I came to the conclusion that I came to, I understood that I would still need to devote, right, 100% of my time to my business and to academia. But how would I be able to do that? So I looked at the academic calendar. And so when I'm not on the academic calendar, I am 100% focused on my systems. And that was my first major shift, right? Before I was working on the business, I was the business, I was the driver. Right. Folks who know me know I do not relinquish control very easily, right? Because I want to make sure it's done in the way it needed to be done with perfect tender. So that was a challenge for me as well. When I hired my EA is when I started to kind of say, okay, I can trust this person to not only allow people to understand my vision, but to present me in the way that I would present myself. That was the first thing. The second major shift that I had was being able to use contractors. So in my head, I needed to hire everyone, but the revenue in the beginning was not there to hire everyone. So, right, I was the who did everything. When I was introduced to the ability to have like fractional employees or contractors work on certain aspects when I needed them to work on, and then high level fractional employees, that was a game changer for me. So I no longer was the graphic designer and the salesperson and the talent, right? I just wasn't all things. So that helped me a lot. And then getting really serious about not only my vision, but what my core values were, what the culture of my company was going to be. So shifting from, my company is Tracy Crump Enterprises, right? Shifting from me, Tracy G. Crump, to the CEO of Tracy Crump Enterprises was also really helpful in a sense that it allowed me to say, hey, this is an entity and you have a fiduciary duty to this entity.
Yes.
And in order to be true to that duty, you need to operate as a CEO. You don't need to operate as the individual passionate person that you are. So moving from working in the business to on the business, and having the language and the know-how was a game changer for me.
Yeah, that is so good. So welcome y'all to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. We just kind of jumped right in and it was so valuable. I was not going to stop Dr. Crump, okay? I was not going to stop Dr. Tracy. So I love that you're here. Let everyone know a little bit about what you do, your framework. I know it, but let the Speak Your Way to Cash audience know who you are and what you do.
Yes, indeed. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Ashley, for having me here on the podcast.
Of course.
I have been an avid listener for years, and also I am a Mastermind member. So my name is Dr. Tracy G. Crump. I am the CEO and Chief Executive Education Officer of Tracy Crump Enterprises, LLC, where we help students and educators clarify their goals and resources, sharpen their skills, and empower them to strive for success using our proprietary ACEs framework. I have been an educator for almost 2 decades and have been a student in college for over 30 years. So I'm passionate about ensuring that students as well as educators succeed in all things they aspire to do.
That is incredible. And you, me and Tracy go way back, you guys. We actually were in law school together a while back when I went to my first law school. And so I have known Tracy to be the one who had books up to here. Okay. If it was an open book test, Tracy built a fort around her desk to really get through the information. And so she's always been someone I've really admired as an academic, as someone who's highly educated, who really takes education seriously. And so when it comes to us helping experts, I'm like, Tracy is like the expert of all experts. So I was so excited that you joined the Mastermind. So where was your business at, your speaking business? Where was your business at before the Mastermind? Did you already have a framework? Were you already getting contracts? Kind of where were you at before? And then paint the picture of where you're at now as a result of the resources of the program.
Yes. So no, I did not have a framework prior to joining the Mastermind. I was getting contracts, but they were very negligible contracts, if you will. In many cases, it was bartering services. In other cases, it was ad hoc services that folks needed just because they knew I had expertise in an area. So it was like a bunch of different topics and themes, and there was no consistency. I also did not have any recurring revenue, and I didn't have like a larger plan for the business. I knew I wanted to share what I knew with whomever I could share it with. And at that time, I didn't have very high standards with regard to revenue. So that's where the business was. There was a huge shift when I joined the Mastermind. I was able to get the clarity I needed to understand that not everyone needs to be my client, right? Even if I know something, if that isn't in my niche, then possibly I should refer those services. I also was able to formulate my framework and then think about how I was using the framework all along for the entirety almost of my life. So that for me was something that shifted not only my mindset, but also shifted the way that I run the business, the way that I teach, and the way that I also serve when I am serving.
That's amazing. I love that because I think that we underestimate the clarity that comes from having a formula that's ours. And I've seen you take your framework and now, of course, you use it in your workshops. You said that it impacts the way that you teach. And also now you're helping authors to get clear on writing and publishing, which you've been publishing academic articles and books for quite some time. So it's really been able to be the thread that weaves together a lot of the different passions that you have into one cohesive business strategy.
Definitely. And as you mentioned, so I've been helping students and also educators with their writing, right, since 2007. But I didn't have the words to articulate kind of what the formula was that I was using. And once we were able to workshop my process and think about how could I package this process in a way that is bite-sized and understandable for the general public, when we did come up with the framework, I was ecstatic because it was something that was repeatable. It's something that I don't have to necessarily put in a small container. My framework, the growth framework, it can be applied to educators. It can be applied to students. It could be applied to new mothers or new fathers or families. Like the ACEs framework can be applied holistically to anyone.
That's so good. So good. So what's been your biggest monetary win since joining the mastermind?
So my individual biggest monetary win since joining the mastermind has been my college tour, over 6 figures in sales. So there were 10 schools, 6 high schools, 4 colleges and universities. 8 of them have already signed contracts, put deposits down. I'm waiting on 2 to bring those contracts back to me. And those are my individual successes as far as monetary successes. My academic success has been I'm competing for a multi 6-figure grant through my university and with the government, right? So
Wow.
we are patiently waiting to hear what will happen with that. But now that I have the information, I could do this again and again,
Yes.
either alone or with another partner.
No, that's so good. And, I want to dial in on something that you said. It's not just you learning a skill and doing it once. It's the fact that now the skills that I've had, the skills that we've used in our business are now your skills. Like you have that skill yourself and you can do it over and over and over and over again. And I love that. And then you keep all the revenue from that. Like we're not doing a rev share. Like literally that's your money. And so I love that you said I could do it again, because that's where you really get to build your wealth.
Yeah,
is on the profit of doing it again.
It definitely is. And I can't speak enough to the clarity, right? With having a group, I have been siloed for so long. And you know this as well as I do. The higher up you get in education or business or
Yes.
various fields, if you are a person from an underrepresented group, if you are a person who is from a minority group or a minoritized group, the fewer and fewer folks who look like you, who share your experience, the fewer folks are in the room. And so I had gotten to a place where I was expecting that. And so I wasn't looking to find folks anymore to partner with who shared my experience. I was just borrowing the experience of other folks. For me, that was not only isolating, but it also allowed me to believe that we collectively were not here in sufficient numbers. And when I won the mastermind and I saw folks who shared my experience and who understood my experience and who could get the nuance of the struggle that I would have with certain aspects of my systems or my offers or my sale processes. That was reinvigorating. And so it did light a fire in me that I didn't even know was there, I didn't know how vast my imagination as far as an entrepreneur could go until I saw folks in the room who shared my experience. So I do want to thank you for that platform, because but for that platform, I would have probably been okay with the way that things were running, with not knowing that I could multiply myself, because capacity was my main challenge. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Of course. Thank you for sharing that. And I mean, we've talked to a few people from the mastermind, and one thing that we hear almost every time is the community of high caliber women. Like it's not, I don't have to be alone. I'm not the only one. I don't have to be the smartest one in the room. Like it's a room full of experts. And that really does fuel you, because especially in the field that we come from, it's just it's not that many Black women lawyers. And I imagine there's not that many Black women tenured professors, so it's very similar for you to be both, a woman lawyer and a professor with your doctorate, your Juris Doctorate, your academic doctorate. Like it's really, it can be isolating. So I'm glad that you spoke to that. How has the community changed the way you view making new friendships?
Yeah. So, I am an introvert who operates as an extrovert, I need to kind of build the emotional capacity to be in community. And that was the one thing for me that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do with community. But once we did have an opportunity to fellowship with one another, it was literally like coming into a family. Like we have the mastermind, and then, right, if we are in a specific town or a city, right, sometimes those who are in that town or that city, right, we can link up, we can strategize, we can mastermind on
Mhm.
our own. And so I have, as an introvert, been able to take part, to benefit and to share. Right. So
Mhm.
sometimes we have like these mini lectures where one of us in our expertise or operating in our zone of genius, right, will share and pour into the others. And then we, right, vice versa, we all switch off. So it's been great for me. I've learned a lot, gained a lot of connections, have worked with a lot of our mastermind members. I am that person. Once I identify, okay, I need this, right? I need more speaking help, right? Who speaks in the group? Who's a speaker? So I go to that person. If I need tech help, I go to that person. So having access to experts, like high caliber experts, has also been beneficial to me.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love, love, love that you are using it in that way. That's what it's for. It really is for the collective because a lot of people come in because of me and then they realize, oh man, it's a lot of people in here who are all amazing. And I love that we continue to attract such a high caliber of women experts and we will continue to be committed to that mission, and particularly like Black women experts, like making sure that we are attracting women of experts that are women of color into our community because our struggles are unique in a lot of ways and they're similar in other ways, but definitely it helps to have that safe space for
and,
sure.
and having accountability as well.
Hmm.
Oftentimes we tend to, right, take on the project because we know we can do it, but we don't have an accountability partner, not only to ensure that we're on track and we're staying on track and true to ourselves and being authentic, but also when there are challenges, right?
Hmm.
Folks who we can talk to, folks who we can call up and right, cry with and laugh with and celebrate with. That is something very different than the experiences that I have had before. Before, I would have to bear the burden of whatever on my own. And right, sometimes that
Yep.
would stifle my momentum. But being in the mastermind, right, I can call on one of my fellow mastermind members, let them know what I'm going through, and we can strategize. And I can get through what I need to get through so I can get to the other side much quicker. So yeah, that
Yeah.
is a huge benefit.
Yeah, and I really love that you shared that. So you set up a tour. You were able to close several contracts on that tour, and you're still in talks with a few additional contracts from that tour as well. How did you set up the tour? Did you approach the schools? Did they approach you? Were you pitching? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I was doing all of the above, right? I took every tool in the toolbox, sharpened them all, and employed them all simultaneously.
Yes.
I was prospecting and pitching myself, and I had my EA, my executive assistant, also prospecting and pitching for me. I was writing for media outlets. I was getting my PR person to get me interviews. I was on the podcast tour. I reached out. We had a challenge. I reached out to everyone, right, that I knew and was like, hey, I'm here. This is what I have to offer.
Yep,
Here,
the referral challenge, the
yes,
referral your way
the
to cash
referral your
challenge.
way to cat.
Yes.
I did everything that we were supposed to do there. And then I also reached out to some of my fellow clients who may not have been in a position where they had youth who were going to college who could help, but they knew folks. And so, because of that, I was able to land those contracts and then in talks with the other folks who I'm in talks with. But yes, I did all of the things: press, podcasting. I created social media channels. I am not a person who is out there on social media like that. Like, I'm that person who says, look, it's wild out there. I'm not about to be doing that. But I got on social media and started to let folks know who I was and what I was doing, and reaching out to my own contacts, of course, using my social media platforms to reach new contacts, attending events. Like I did everything that that we could possibly do. I ran ads. I'm not the best at running ads, but I ran some ads on some of my social media platforms as well.
You did all the things in the challenge. And I'll tell you guys, the Referral Your Way to Cash challenge is something that we created just for the mastermind. It's like 14 days of different activities you can do to get clients from people you already know and drum up business with some new people as well. So of all those things, pitching, writing for the press, posting on social media, and then additionally like reaching out to the contacts that you know, contacts and clients that you already had, which would you say was the most successful? Like, is there one area where you're like, okay, but I probably got like 50% of the contracts from pitching, or I got 50% from podcasting? Was there one that stood out as being the most effective of the things that you tried?
Yes, I'm very much so hand-to-hand combat, right? The pitching and prospecting for myself, definitely it was, I can say hands down, 70% of what I was able to do came from that.
Amazing.
It's priceless because people get to see your enthusiasm and hear directly from you what it is that you are offering, why you're offering it. A lot of folks like to hear like the backstory before they can know, like, and trust you. So yes, definitely pitching and prospecting myself and having my EA with the materials to give out to the folks really was helpful.
And did your EA go through the Admin Academy?
Yes.
Nice. I love that. So for those of you listening who don't know, like, what is the Admin Academy? So in our mastermind, we actually give them a training for their administrators to do the pitching for them. And we've always done that. We've had it since we launched in November. I think, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So we have an Admin Academy for the mastermind. It was either November or March that we launched the Admin Academy, but it's been really helpful. And everyone who's had an admin go through it has raved about like the content in the actual portal for them. So you get a license with the program. So I love that. So pitching and prospecting works. And who are you reaching out to? So you said colleges. Were you reaching out to student activities directors and principals, or what were the top titles?
So it really depended on the level. For high school, it was, in some cases, they had deans of students, they had counselors, various types of success counselors in high schools. Colleges, yes, deans of students, academic success, freshman experience, first year seminar, whoever was in charge of the topic that I was going to be speaking on that month. So if it was an affinity month, like Black History Month or Mental Health Awareness Month, right? I would reach out to, in Black History Month, well, before Black History Month, I would reach out to African American Studies directors because I was one and we had a budget. I would reach out to some of our trio folks, folks who are in academic success or freshman experience. So yes, I was reaching out to everyone. And because I am embedded in academia, it was I think it was a little easier for me to reach out to my contacts and say, you know, who I am and what I'm doing, and can I make the connection, or do you know who I can make the connection with?
I like that. And about how many pitches do you think you sent out to land those 10 contracts? Was it more than 1,000 or less?
Yeah, it probably was more. I will say in the beginning, I was pitching. So I devoted an hour a day, every day, Monday through Friday, to pitch. And then my EA, once she was fully on board, she also was devoting an hour a day. Now, this was from, I will say, January 15th-ish until now.
Okay.
So 1 hour a day, 5 days a week.
Nice. And are you still doing it? No.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
I'm doing it for next academic year. So, right, I have a capacity issue. I can only fully serve 10 groups. And so hopefully next year when I'm able to multiply myself.
Yes. So that'll be our next, that's our year 2 plan, is like, we got to uncap that capacity issue. And you probably could find people with your background who you feel most comfortable doing it.
I'm hoping so. I think, right, the framework and my vision for helping, in this case, college students and then also authors, definitely, if I was able to reach the folks that I hope to reach, I think we could change lives.
Yeah, you will change lives for sure. So I love that. So you said more than 1,000, about 1,000 a day, or an hour a day. Would you think it's more than 2,000 or maybe like around 1,500?
It probably is a little more than 1,000. I don't think it was more than 2,000.
Okay.
It may be closer to like 12, 1,300. I
Okay, cool.
actually run the numbers. But I'm
Nice.
interested to find out myself.
Yeah, and that is interesting because then it helps give people like context when you're reaching out cold and warm, what to
Mhm.
kind of expect. And I've been saying for a while, like, hey guys, you're gonna need to increase that volume. And I think that this just gives them that evidence and proof that you should increase that volume. And it gives us a timeline. So about January 15th, you started this. When did you land? When did you start seeing like contracts signed and deposits being paid? How many months into it?
Probably in middle to late March. Middle
Okay.
to late March. So like it
That's
was
not that long. It's like 90 days.
90 days. It was back and forth contact. So some folks didn't respond, as you could imagine. The
Yep.
folks who did respond, they wanted more information. So of course I had to bring out my assets, right? I
Yep.
had to let them know kind of, hey, this is what I have, this is what I have to offer. Here is the package of information about me that you will need to make the decision. And then right back and forth meetings. They had to meet with funders. In some cases, folks had to collaborate in order to kind of meet the needs that they wanted to meet. So yeah, the first paid contract was middle to late March.
Okay, good. Good. I really like that.
And
I really like
it
that.
didn't start until the academic year. So right, they paid. We worked out what was going to be in the package, and then when the academic year started, because the first paid contract was a college contract, in at the end of August, beginning of September, that's when we started with the program.
Really good. And you mentioned program. What is the offer that they purchased?
So in this case, it is a licensing offer, a speaking offer, and coaching offer. So 100 up to 100 students, they're able to license the ACEs for Students, Strategies for Success in the First Year of College and Beyond
Nice.
program. And so what this program is designed to do is to help students to not only successfully enter college, to matriculate through college, to graduate from college, and to be career ready. So it is a 13-week program for each of the students. They get the book, they get 3 sessions with me, and then they get the back end course, the online self-paced course.
Nice. And so is the book almost like a workbook, like a curriculum, a workbook?
It has its own curriculum in it, yes. So every chapter has right the chapter information. At the end of the chapter, they can use the Activate Your ACEs sections in order to work through the material themselves. So it could be something that is personal to them, right? No one student is going to have the same information as another student in the book because everything is tailored to each of the students. And it's designed to walk them through some of the challenges that students face that I've heard about for over 30 years.
Okay. And so they're interacting with the book. So it's their personal information in that book, but you're able to do it at scale because the core content is the same, but when they write in it, it'll have their own information in it.
Yes, and then they have the opportunity to stay in touch with me, to share their wins, to ask questions on social media. So all of that is in the
Oh,
book.
nice. Okay, that's really cool. And then they get the license modules, and those are pre-recorded, so you don't have to show up for that. And every school is kind of getting the same core content, but then you can tailor it in your coaching.
Yes, definitely. Depending on the types of students, the level the students are. So the high school students, it's a much different conversation than the college
Hmm.
students. In some cases, the geographical area, they may want me to include certain information if something is going on in that geographical area. So I will include that as well.
Really cool. Really, really cool. This has been, I mean, this is really enlightening, really incredible. Thank you so very much for sharing. And I know Tracy, like you're in our mastermind, but you've also been to our events. What would you tell someone who's like, okay, I need to just get my feet wet. I need to go to the event first, figure out what is this Speak Your Way to Cash Mastermind about?
Yes.
It's some people who are like getting paid to speak, people are licensing things, people are learning how to grow their coaching programs. Where should I start? What would you say to someone on the fence about coming to the event?
So if someone is on the fence, I would just tell them to dive into the podcast,
Right.
dive into the free Facebook group. You will, and I was one of those people, even though I know Ashley, even though like we go way, way back, I just was like, let me see what this Speak Your Way to Cash is all about. So I did, right, the free challenges, and then upgraded, and then did the summits, and then, right, tipped my toe into the live. And once I was at live and I was able to see kind of the not only expertise you bring, but your passion, your integrity with presenting the information in a way that we need to hear it. Oftentimes, okay, I'm gonna go off on a tangent a little bit. Oftentimes we have folks, right, spoon feeding us information in the way they think we might want to have that information. But right, to have someone to present that information to you in a way that says, hey, listen, this is the state of affairs. We understand who you are. We understand what it is you do. You understand your audience. We have resources to help you propel yourself, right? To have that, you can't miss out on that. You cannot. If there is no one that I will bet on, it would be, I would bet on myself at all costs. And so being in live and Speak Your Way to Cash live in the environment allowed me to say, you know what, I can do this, right? Other folks have done it. I don't have to be afraid anymore. I need to invest in myself, right, to reap rewards and to help the folks that I want to help. So yeah, I would say if you're on the fence, right, just peep in. Peep in, go to the podcast, go to the free Facebook group, see what is out there, see the reviews, like go to the website, do your due diligence.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I love that. And what would you say to the person who's already like, they've done all that? They've gone to the events, they've kind of read our book. A lot of people have already read our books. They've come to the event. They're like, okay, I'm ready. I think I'm ready to apply for the mastermind, but I don't know if I'll fit in. It's the biggest investment I've ever made in myself. Like, we're talking about multiple 5 figures here. What would you say to that person who's scared to join the mastermind, even though they know this is where they should be?
I would ask them where they want to be, right? I also was that person. And so I was doing all the things that I could think of to do, but I wasn't in a position that I wanted to be in. I wasn't serving on the level that I wanted to serve. And so at some point, we really have to take a look within to make a decision to say, hey, do I want to continue doing the same thing? Do I think this will help me, or will it hurt me, right? If you believe this is something that will help propel you to your next level, then you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the folks who you're going to serve. That's what I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I want you to leave us with words of encouragement, because I know your story. And I think that there are some people who are like, okay, Dr. Tracy has all the degrees in the world, so this makes sense that she was able to land more than 6 figures in contracts. But I got 1 degree, maybe 1 master's, maybe they don't got a lot of different masters and doctorates and JDs and all of that. Let them know a little bit about like how you've been able to use your framework really to overcome and just encourage the person listening who feels like they're not good enough to do the work that they know in their hearts they want to do.
Yeah, Dr. Tracy has not always been Dr. Tracy. Let's just put that out there. Dr. Tracy used to be, right, a very young single mother who didn't have a lot of guidance. I didn't have a lot of folks who had gone through some of the challenges that I was trying to tackle, to overcome, whether it was graduating from college, or, right, being in a field where there aren't people who look like me, right? Because I was able to be around folks who not only had gone through some of the things that I was going through, but who had the expertise to allow me to see that there was something higher than what, right, my tunnel vision was allowing me to see at that moment. Right? That's something special. And so I would encourage folks to dream bigger. I didn't have bigger dreams to dream of because I didn't see that at first, but being in the room allowed me to not only see, hey, this is a possibility, but it allowed me to sit back, right? Close my eyes and to think bigger than I've ever thought before. And because of this, now I'm able to say confidently, I know I will help at least 1 million students successfully enter college, graduate college, and become successful advocates in their own careers. So yeah, I would just ask them to dream bigger. Like, think about what it is that you could possibly do if you had the right guidance, if you had coaching, if you had mentorship, if you had community, if you had folks who not only you could bounce ideas off, but you could pour into. Like, think about how wonderful that would be.
That's amazing. And you just reminded me when you were speaking, I was like, man, this is so good. I just remember you using props in your cash chats talk where you were literally on stage showing the barriers and how coaching brought those barriers off of you. And it's like, I'm so incredibly proud of you and what you've done and what you've been able to accomplish. Like, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. And I'm just so excited to keep working with you and to see all the incredible things that you're going to do to change the academic and educational systems.
Yes, thank you so much for having me once again. And I am so excited about everything you're doing in the business, with the mastermind, with all of the clients you serve. So we collectively thank you as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, I will drop all of Dr. Tracy's. Did you let us know how we can get in touch with you? How can we get in touch with you?
Yes, you can get in touch with me on the website at tracycrumpenterprises.com, or you can get in touch with me. I am Tracy G. Crump on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Instagram. I'm also the ACEs Framework on Instagram and at ACEs Framework on X, formerly Twitter.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And we will drop all of Dr. Tracy's links. I will also, you guys, make sure to give you guys all the links for live and to apply for the mastermind. If that is what is best for you at this time and you are an expert who knows you need to be in the room with us, then just join us in the room. We're ready. We're waiting for you. So I'll let you guys know about that. Please take notes on this episode. Take notes on this episode. She gave you guys a lot of great info for free and told you how to be basically an exceptional student in any area of your life, including if you're in a coaching program. Do the work, take the work, learn the work yourself, delegate the work to someone else, check it, keep going. Don't give up when you don't get a response. Maybe you're sending out 1,000 pitches to land 10 or so clients, but those clients are 5 figures. That adds up very quickly. And it don't got to take all day, y'all. She said 90 days, maybe 120 days or less, like you're in the game. So definitely love this episode. Please take notes. Definitely a great one. Share it with all your friends, and I will see you guys next time.